Hello, in this video, we're going to take a look at troubleshooting a performance event that was detected in one of our remote sites. To do that, we're going to want to start by leveraging the NetOps portal. This is really our centralized view into understanding the devices we own and control, but also introducing data from AppNeta. That's going to help us to understand performance across networks we don't own or control. So let's dive into that. Let's see what's going on here. Let's start by taking a look at a major event that's been detected. It's showing us that within Denver, we are seeing a big spike in data loss. This is while interacting with a pretty critical SaaS application. So we know there's a problem. We understand the impact. Great. Let's go a little bit further. Let's understand the total scope of this event that's taking place. Well, if we come down to our next table, which is showing us the overall network health across all of our sites, we see that it's really only impacting two locations, Denver as well as Vancouver. Perfect. So now we know this isn't some sort of global outage. This is more of a localized event that's taking place. Well, that's great. And there are many other ways that we can visualize the performance or even experience of the users within those sites. Again, to better understand how user experience may be impacted by an event like this. Now, before we drill any deeper into understanding the AppNeta side of things, I also want to understand the devices that I do own and control. Could there be a problem that's sitting at the edge of my network? So is my router, or is there a switch within one of those two sites that could be introducing uh, some of that performance issue here? Well, I'm not seeing that. If I look across my utilization, well, I do see some spiking. I'm not seeing any heavy utilization within Vancouver or Denver. Perfect. So we know it's not a utilization problem within those two sites. I can also look at errors or discards for those same devices. Again, I see a few discards there, but I'm not seeing Denver or Vancouver. So this is starting to help me understand this is really not anything to do with the devices that I have control over. This has gone beyond that. This is really starting to point toward a third-party network. Something like my ISP would be a great example of that. So let's start drilling in to that to get that end-to-end visibility. I can select this Denver path. What that's going to allow me to do is to visualize some key metrics in greater detail. I can scroll down to my data loss here to better understand when did this event start. So data loss really started popping up around 8:50 in the morning. Perfect. I know when it started, and I can see where it starts to tail off. So I understand how long this event has been taking place for and whether it's a continuing event or not. But we want to go deeper than this. We want to see more into what's happening here or what has happened. To do that, I'm going to choose detail. This is going to allow me to drill straight into that network path data that's being captured by AppNeta. Now, what I'm able to visualize is the current route that I happen to be traversing end to end. It's also exposing information about the different carriers that happen to be involved with accessing this critical application. Perfect. I know CenturyLink and Level 3 are players in this now. There's a whole series of additional metrics that I can look at, just like we saw on the previous screen within the NetOps portal. Just another way for me to visualize and understand what's happening here. But we want to go deeper. We want to get to that root cause. To do that, we're going to leverage what's called a diagnostic report. This is a fully automated report that runs anytime that the solution has detected a network impairment or some sort of performance event. There's a series of rules that we can apply on when to create these. So let's choose View. This will now allow me to see a snapshot in time for when this event was detected and where it detected events along this network path. So we were most focused on data loss. Well, let's take a look. So if we look in that data loss column, we can see, sure, right at My central router there, I'm not seeing any loss. The edge of my network, also not seeing any loss. Again, we're getting confirmation. This is not something internal to our network. However, when we move into CenturyLink's network, we are starting to see data loss. And if we continue down that data loss column, we'll see that the data loss is actually propagating all the way to the end. Perfect. We've now taken a very complex and difficult to troubleshoot problem, and we've made it more manageable. To do that, we broke it into what we like to call error domains. So that's establishing my internal network, so the devices I do own and control, my ISP's network, and any peering partners that my ISP may have. So again, very quickly, we were able to start at the high level, understand the scope or impact, navigate down, and truly understand where the event was being introduced. And now we know how to get this resolved. This is a ticket with our ISP. Again, a very difficult problem to troubleshoot, especially when we don't have insight into what's happening across those different networks that we don't own or control. But now we have that power. We can visualize what that performance looks like, and we can identify the individual hops along any given path where performance issues may be introduced.